Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to accept the challenge from Jazz at the Lobby of Hobbies to join in on Tabletop Tag. So if you're curious to see my answer to the Tabletop Tag 20 questions, stay tuned. So I had seen Tabletop Tag originally from Jenna Rose at the Board Game Garden, and she had challenged several people. I thought it sounded like a fun thing to participate in eventually. Just didn't get around to it, and then I saw Board Game Dave do it, and thought, wow, that does seem like kind of fun thing to do. Maybe I'll get around to that. And then yesterday I was watching Jazz's video at the Lobby of Hobbies, and he just gave such kind words to me in his challenge for me to participate. Thank you, Jazz, for that. I love your channel. I love following along with all that you do. And look forward to meeting you someday, hopefully in person. But after that challenge, I thought, yep, I'm going to go for it. Time to do it. I have links to those channels down below. And if you're curious whether I challenge you at the end or not, feel free to jump in, do your tabletop tag, and tell us your answers to these 20 questions. So here I go. Number 1, what is your name, age, and location? Well, as I said, I'm Bill Webb, and I live in California. I'll be 54 in just a few weeks. I've been married for 33 years, have 3 kids and 6 grandkids and 1 dog. So that's a little bit about me. Number 2, what was your favorite childhood board game? It's a little bit of a toss-up, but I'd have to say either Chopper Strike or Risk. Chopper Strike was so cool because it was 2 layers. You had airplanes and helicopters. I guess they were just helicopters on the top clear board, and then you had tanks down the bottom board. And it was a little bit Risk-like in the sense that you're battling that way. But really loved those 2 games as a kid growing up. Number 3, when did you really get into the board game hobby? Well, in 2001, we had been living in Indonesia. We had to kind of come home suddenly to the US, and we had a huge blizzard. And right before the blizzard, I picked up the 3 base Catan games with the 5-player expansions. Just got it all. I had played Catan once with a friend, really liked it, and just got it all. The blizzard hit, and my family of 5 at that time, we played that all week. We were out of school for the whole week because of the big snow, and that is kind of when I first fell in love with board games and picked up Carcassonne. Then we ended up going back to Indonesia for several more years, and I pretty much just only played those games, a little bit of Risk, Carcassonne, Catan, Settlers of Catan, I think it was called at the time, and enjoyed it, but that's pretty much all I knew about it. Then in 2018, I played Pandemic and Legends of Andor, and those 2 games just sucked me into a much deeper dive in games, wanting to find all different kinds of games. I'd never heard of a cooperative game till Pandemic. Legends of Andor was just an amazing adventure in a box game that is still one of my top games of all time because of the great experiences we've had with that. What was the first game you purchased? Do you still own it? Yeah, the first game I purchased was actually right before we went overseas, and it was Risk, Castle Risk combined into a single box. It's pretty hard to find, and I do still have it. It's taped up, but I do still have it. I haven't played it in ages, but I have that one just for nostalgia. I can't get rid of that game. Number 5, any other hobbies other than board games? Well, I do enjoy reading, especially fictional reading. I also love music. Switchfoot's one of my favorite bands, so I listen to a lot of their music, and some others, Need to Breathe and some other groups. I also like to play guitar, although I'm not very good at it, so those are some of my other hobbies. What was your breakthrough game? Well, I guess I would say Catan, because that was the one that really helped me see how much I love board games and wanted to be a part of my family's lives. And then I think Pandemic, though, was kind of the one that opened my eyes to the broader world. Let's see. What's a theme that always draws you in? Number 7. Well, Lord of the Rings is my IP of choice. If it's Lord of the Rings, I'm going to be interested. I have a bunch of Lord of the Rings games on my shelves. But in general, I think fantasy is the theme that probably draws me in the most, whether it's Lord of the Rings, that kind of fantasy, or other types. And then if it's something really unique, like I was drawn into Steam Up with the dim sum theme, and there's been a few other games that were just so unique it wanted me to try them out, like Sabotage, buying and running a boba shop. Yeah, so something really unique always catches my attention as well. Number 8, what's your favorite mechanism or mechanisms? I feel like it's worker placement, but I was using an app, and I'll put a link down below. I forget exactly what it's called. I think it's like geekboard.app or something. It's a browser app, but if you have a Board Game Geek account, you can sync it and it tells you all kinds of things. What kinds of games dominate your collection in terms of designers and mechanisms and all that. So according to that, I have by far more games with hand management than any other game in my collection. So worker placement, hand management, I do know I love both of those mechanisms. Number 9, what's a mechanism you don't like or aren't good at? One I don't like and our family isn't really into is Take That. We're just not really into that kind of a game, so that's the kind of game we typically avoid. Number 10, what are the newest games in your collection and have you played them? Well, I recently won a copy of Ark Nova from the Instagram account 2 Mexican Meeples, so thank you for that, and I just received it. Now, I haven't played my copy. We're moving and it's in shrink wrap, already packed in a box and in storage. But I have played Ark Nova before with a friend's copy. And then another couple games that I just traded for through boardgamegeek's website are Teotihuacan, City of Gods, and Barony. And again, put them right into boxes to move and in storage. So, but Teotihuacan, City of Gods, I have played that before with a friend's copy and really love that game. Barony is a Marc Andre, the creator of Splendor game. And I haven't played that yet, but I'm really excited to and pick that up along with the sorcery expansion of that trade. So those are the three the newest additions to my collection. 11, what's your favorite player count? Well, really anything 2 to 4. I'm fine with bigger groups and I'll play solo some, but 2 to 4 is my sweet spot. I do play most of my games with just 2. My wife and I play board games together more than any other, but I do have a couple of board game groups I enjoy connecting with too. Number 12, what's your board game pet peeve? Well, I'm not really very peevy, I don't think, but I am a little particular in terms of how I box up the game. So I don't know, I always want to have like the different meeples and components for each player color in the same size baggies, and just so sometimes I'll wait until everybody leaves and then bag it up so I can do it just right. So I guess maybe you could call that a pet peeve. I like to get things organized just so. Number 13, what player color do you use most often? I always play red if I can. Number 14, do you open and punch a game right away or wait until you're going to play it? When I first started the heavy dive and getting all kinds of games, I would open it, punch it, and do all that sorting right away. And I do enjoy that part of the hobby, you know, opening a new game and sorting it all out and everything. But now I'm pretty much, until I know I'm going to play it, I just leave it in shrink. Because I have had so many new games coming to the end of the collection over the last year that I usually wait. So number 15, do you read a rule book or watch a follow or how to play video? So usually if I do most of the teaching in my family, and I do maybe about a third to a quarter of the teaching in our different game groups. So that's something I have to do pretty frequently. And if that's the case, I'll start with videos and I'll look at review videos and how to play videos so I can get the idea. Then I'll read the rule book so I can get the nitty gritty, and then I'll watch a playthrough. And that way I'm ready to teach it. So that's kind of my strategy for the most part. Number 16, what is your favorite snack to eat while playing board games? We don't typically have snacks much in any of my game groups, and even with my wife and I, we don't generally snack much while we play games, but I would guess 2 of my snacks that I enjoy that I think would fit board gaming are pretzels and red vines. I like those snacks and they're not messy, so it wouldn't mess up the game components at all. Number 17, have you ever been to a board game convention? If so, which ones? And I have not. I really, really want to, especially since creating this channel a couple of years ago. I would love to go meet so many of the people that I've come to know through our YouTube channels and interactions there. I'd love to meet them face to face, have a chance to play board games with them, including Jazz and several others. So that's a goal of mine. I was just asked by a friend of mine who's competing in the World Series of Board Gaming if I wanted to go with him. He had some tickets free because he's a competitor in that contest. So I'll have to look at my schedule, but I would love to go to that. I know it's going to be kind of that big competition as well as sort of a board game convention. So that might be the first one that I make it to. I was hoping to get to Gen Con this summer, but that's not going to pan out due to some other family things going on. So number 18, what's an unreleased game that you are most looking forward to? Well, in the crowdfunding arena, I'm really excited about a game, Rise and Fall. It was slated to come to crowdfunding in 2020, then got pushed to 2021, and now I think it's coming out in the next month or so finally. I've been looking forward to this game for a couple of years now. It's got this unique it's like a hex game, but the hex is stacked, so it's got that 3-dimensional terrain kind of approach. Looks really cool. Really excited for that one. And then a couple others that I don't know if they're going to be crowdfunded or if they're going to be straight to retail. One is Tabriz, and I'm very excited about that one because it's a Middle Eastern trading game. But Crafty Games and Randy Flynn, the creators, publisher, designer of Cascadia, one of my favorite games, are putting that one together. It looks really cool, and so I'm very excited about that one. And then another one, Empire's End, which is a John D. Clare game being put out by Brotherwise Games. Another great combo. Very excited for those two games. Number 19, what's your favorite thing about the board game hobby? And it's the people. What really drew me in, as I mentioned before, that Blizzard out of school week, being with the family, doing something other than just watching TV, that is what got me going initially, and then starting to play with friends while we were overseas, and then coming back and meeting new friends. And now, especially since starting the channel a couple of years ago, meeting new friends. I've done some collaborations using Zoom and such, and just the people that I get to connect with, the people that I've met in my board gaming groups here in California. That's the best part of the hobby. And then last one, 20. Other people you would like to see do this tag. So I just finished watching this morning a video, their April-May recap, and Better Half Reviews, Bryce and Allison talked about possibly doing one of these already. So I'll throw an official challenge out. I would encourage you guys to try it. Next up, AllAboard Gamer, Brandon and Lexi, had some great interactions with them, done a couple collaborations with them as well. I would love to hear their answers to these questions. And then might I suggest a game, Alex Hart. Alex, I'd love to hear your take on this. You're such a creative dude. I know you would have a lot of fun with this. And then last, Punchboard Party, Daniel up in Canada. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these questions as well. So those are my challenges. There are so many people that I've met and have come to know and enjoy interacting with through this hobby. I could go on and on, but those are 4 people that I feel like I've spent a fairly good amount of time online with. And so I'll send my challenge to those 4 channels. So hopefully you enjoyed this, hearing a little bit more about me as a board game hobbyist and a little bit about my preferences. If you did, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up, and it'd be terrific if you'd choose to subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, maybe some other questions beyond these 20, or you want more detail about some of these questions, leave those thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy Indiana, signing off.